On the week I recorded this, there was a lot going on in my life. And by a lot, I mean midterm exams. So it was probably better that I recorded and edited a simpler video for this week. So here is another episode of Drawing Muses I Don't Normally Draw, where it's literally in the title. And I talk about whatever lore I had thought of that's probably underdeveloped because I seriously don't do much with these guys. So the muse I'm drawing for this video is Yuan Lee. So a little bit about him is that he's a former SWAT team member who is now a clerk at the police station of sorts. He was extremely skilled at what he did and had a lot of potential, but sadly, he got into an incident and it left him blind. So Yuan Lee was forced to become this clerk because due to his lack of sight, he couldn't be dispatched onto dangerous cases. Of course, Yuan Lee is upset about all of this and he tries his hardest to still do something because he sees this clerk work as extremely useless. Yuan Lee doesn't like sitting around. He's the kind of person that wants to go out and do something. So this really was a low blow to him. Some people would have just accepted what happened to them, but even after years, Yuan Lee can't really accept any of this. Part of it was due to his upbringing where it seemed like his parents had no faith in him. They didn't exactly want him. Yuan Lee grew up a troubled kid and nobody exactly understood him. So they thought he'd be incapable of doing anything, so Yuan Lee wanted to prove everyone wrong. So it leads him to trying to do as much as possible, but of course, he ended up being reckless while being desperate like this, if it all makes sense. So Yuan Lee exists in a slightly different universe than the other muses I've drawn in these videos. The others have the potential to meet each other, but Yuan Lee could never meet, let's say, Ji-hoon. Maybe universe isn't the right word for it, just a different timeline. He has others in that same timeline as him that maybe I could consider drawing for a video in the future. All you need to know about the setting Yuan Lee is from is that it's basically like our real-life modern world. Except, I guess it's slightly dystopian. I say slightly though. In the city Yuan Lee is in, there are two major gangs who wreak havoc on the city. But I won't go too much into detail about those gangs' lore unless I draw a member from those gangs, which unsurprisingly, I do have members. I will say the incident that Yuan Lee got into was because of those gangs. There was an entire thing. You guys can probably guess what it is, and if you can't, there was a major fight and Yuan Lee and some of the other SWAT team members were caught in the crossfire while trying to figure things out. And since Yuan Lee is a little reckless and has a problem with trying to prove everyone wrong, yeah. I mean, he still half accomplished his goal of proving everyone wrong because I bet nobody thought he'd survive, but lo and behold, he did. I think maybe I can talk a little bit more about the characters in that timeline since they're relevant. Mostly Yuan Lee's colleagues though, because he has quite the reputation. The more important person in this might be Ayato. So Ayato is a current SWAT team member and used to work with Yuan Lee. Let's just say they were rivals because Ayato was everything Yuan Lee wasn't. It didn't seem like anyone looked down on Ayato like they did with Yuan Lee. He was well respected and just had things easy, which pissed Yuan Lee off. Ayato never held any animosity towards Yuan Lee, despite Yuan Lee's attitude. I think he cares for Yuan Lee as a colleague, and especially now since Yuan Lee is trying to get into situations to be useful. I think another relevant character is Hyunjin, who is like the lieutenant in this. And for lieutenant, he's kind of young, but I won't go too much into detail about him. Despite Hyunjin technically having authority over Yuan Lee doesn't hesitate to disrespect him anyways because Hyunjin is sort of a pushover at times. But Hyunjin also cares enough about Yuan Lee to try and make sure those big bosses can't do much, which probably explains how someone like Yuan Lee still has his job. There are other characters who are important, but either they belong to one of my friends or it's a lesser role. But I think the point is that Yuan Lee now has some people who potentially care about him. Like those that want to protect him not because they don't think he can't do anything, but rather because they actually want to see him alive longer. But sadly, Yuan Lee is stubborn and is kind of stuck in this mindset of people wanting to stop him because they have no faith in him, which is depressing. He's been surrounded with those kinds of people his entire life that he forgot what normal relationships look like. Yuan Lee is definitely up there in characters I have with potential, so it's a shame that I don't do much with him. There are probably dozens of characters I have like that, But maybe in the future, I'll do something with him and that other timeline I have going on. It's funny that I have all of this though, but I guess when you like creating, you just make many things. I think I have all of the lore out of the way, so I can talk a bit about the drawing. I struggled on the composition. I feel like recently, it's been really hard drawing interesting things. It's definitely because of the poses and angles. I don't experiment enough with it. So I tried to do a little thing. I think this was better than what I had in mind initially. Of course, background became an issue as usual, so I just winged it. I was like, okay, city alleyway, sure. Yuan Li would go down there anyways, no regard for his own safety if it meant he could prove someone wrong. That's definitely a fatal flaw of his. With a lot of these character drawings, I probably should focus more on giving hints on what they're like as a character, but nope. I kind of just like drawing pretty or cool pictures, so yeah. I probably should have tried more on the background, but since we know backgrounds are my arch enemy, yeah. I think for the most part, the coloring was pretty quick because Yuan Li doesn't have complicated things in his design. I just drew Yuan Li in sort of his uniform because that's probably what we'd see him in the most anyways. I don't think there's much of a point in drawing him in normal clothes because his sense of fashion is as basic as possible. Since he can't see, he pretty much opts for things that he knows for sure will look decent together. So usually it'd be jeans or a t-shirt or sweater depending on the weather. He always wears his sunglasses though, to cover up his scars on his eyes. I hate drawing glasses though, so that was a bit painful, but it's fine. I ran through shading this really fast, so things were easy up until the final rendering. I did my signature lighting effects, but then I thought it looked a bit plain, so I put in a bit of smoke. It makes no sense, but most of the time, I don't make much sense in art. Oh, I will say that I did end up forgetting to give Yuan Li scars on his arms for whatever reason. Maybe I was having a moment on Sunday when this was recorded. Probably wouldn't happen if I had an actual reference sheet for him, but we'll see if I ever do one. But anyways, the speed paint should be finishing up soon, and then I'll show you the final result. Here is the final drawing. It's always nice drawing characters you don't draw often. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video, even if it was really simple this week. I hope to catch everyone in the next one.